Innocent light of God. These words are never frivolous. To declare that you are the innocent light of God is a declaration that you must eventually make. Innocent light of God. It's an acceptance even before you are aware of the essence of your being. It's an acceptance that is necessary to bring the truth of your light into manifestation. If you, for example, instead of using the declaration that you are the innocent light of God, that you instead either think silently or even say out loud that life is hard and you've been gypped and you are betrayed by the world in some form or fashion. You may believe that those things are true because we've all held those same beliefs, whether it's this lifetime or another lifetime, and most likely it's every lifetime, without the awareness of love, without the awareness of truth. It's what we believe our relationship with the world is, mostly unfair, unfairly treated, and fearful. And the past has put that in place. The past that you thought was truth of you. And you may have even thought that you knew others by their appearances in the world. Like you could spot people and decide what they were made of, so to speak. Whether they were nice, whether they weren't nice, whether they were too loud or too quiet, or whatever the decisions are that are made to identify somebody else. There is the realization that if you are not aware of yourself, how can you possibly be aware of someone else? And by that, I really mean, yes, you can probably identify if they have good taste in clothes. You can probably identify if they are an athlete. You can probably identify if they are older than 40. It doesn't matter what the identification in the world is, it's made up. So all those things have no relevance to whether they're of you or they're someone else. They're made up. So then you come back to this place of why does everyone feel so separate, so alone so many times? It's all because of those same beliefs. When you think you know and you identify someone as an outside identity, immediately you feel separate. Immediately it affirms, oh, I'm different, I'm separate, I'm without. But the ego keeps charging towards the self made identity. And God is calling to go deeper. to discover not only the truth of your divine self, but the truth of every beloved, because it's all the same. That is what equality is, a divine union of love that comes from a conscious awareness that is actually bringing the trance state that has run, bringing it forward with your yes so that you can identify what's in the way. The simplicity of healing is that it is the confusion of the illusion that is the culprit of entanglement and confusion. In love, there's no confusion. It's very simple. You don't know, and only love is real. In the not knowing, you can open to the exquisite sameness, the exquisite oneness that holds everyone as one together. Today was the day that, for some reason, I incarnated on this day. The most amazing element of this incarnation was that I discovered that I incarnated on the same day that Jose woke up and celebrated that day as the day of birth, true birth. So the pull toward questioning who we are and how can we know anyone without diving into our common spirit. The blessing of every relationship is that all I had to do was accept that whatever was the truth of Jose, whatever the truth was of Jesus, whatever the truth was of every saint and every being of love, was the same here. Simple. Not arrogant, just simple. The starting point was February 14th. How could it be that I would search the world for a teacher that I didn't even know I was searching for and discover this connection that was nothing and yet was telling me, open your heart to learn the truth of love. This was a hymn that that Jose received on his birthday of incarnation, of remembering. And so we sang this every February 14th, as we sang every one of these hymns every February 14th. I am the sun, I am the path. I am the sun, I am the path. I am the Son of all creation. I am the Son of all this power. I am the Son, I am your master. I am the Son, I am your master. And now I am arriving to give all of my blessings. I am the Sun, S-U-N. Just a hint of connection. Not a story about how the sun came to be and how I came to be the same as the sun. Just the words. I am the sun. I am the path. I am the Son of all creation. These words are not narcissistic. These words are not special, because everyone is this same truth. You are the sun. You are the sun, the power of the sun, of all the power of the universe. It's within you. There's nothing that you have to do to earn this at all, just the acceptance and the glad, happy release of all that you've made up that stands in the way of it. When someone in the everyday life says to you some question about your name or your identification, you answer because they're not aware that you're on the journey to letting go of all that identity. So you use it, but you use it consciously and reverently that it is not the truth of you. Someone says, "Oh, how old are you and how long have you been living in Oregon?" You answer, but it doesn't have any bite behind it when you realize I could have picked that out of a hat and said the same words, because they can't describe the meaning, the exquisite meaning of my being. I am the Son of all this power. I am the master. And now I'm arriving to give all of my blessings. This can be singing through your heart, through your ringing through your being, even while you're telling someone what your name is, because there's no longer the attachment to the identification. Does it mean that you're less? No. The less was the identification that we each made, because every single being that takes on an identification makes it small. Small. A small name, small identity, small history. What would make it different? It's not bad. It's just that you, in that small identity, can't embrace the Son of all this power. And yet, that is the truth. I am the Son, I am your master. When I first entered this hymn, it was like talking to somebody else. That's grad school. That's for those who have passed the bar, whatever. But it wasn't, and it isn't. It is your inheritance. It is your true identity. When I was instructed, and I was instructed a lot, but when I was instructed to accept the truth of love within, I had to truly accept it for everybody. There couldn't be one beloved that was not part of the whole. You have to accept it for everyone. And sometimes that's the part that is the most resistant. Ordinary magnificence I was called to bring to humanity. Ordinary magnificence, a contradiction in terms, but not. The ordinariness of love is magnificent. It is the magnificence of the universe, and at the same time, because it's all that exists, it's ordinary. It's everyone, it's everything that comes from love. So when you ask or are curious about anyone's story, personality, what do you have in common with them? You only have one thing in common with them. One. Everything that is true, you have in common. Everything that is love, you are the same in that love. No one has exceeded anyone or fallen behind anyone because time doesn't exist. But when you give the spirit of love your time, surrender your time, your belief in time, then everything can be transformed through the holiness of time that the Holy Spirit uses. This hymn that I'm looking at is a hymn that was also through Jose said when I said, "So who are you?" And he said, "That's something you have to find out." And one of the ways was through this hymn, which was the hymn of who he was in the realm of God. St. Peter is the key to the church of love. Who wants to knock at the door will receive this light. Who receives this light and firms it in the heart is going to love God forever. God and the Blessed Mother are always one. St. Peter is the key. There are these exquisite mysteries in the universe They have to be mysteries because this pea brain that thinks it knows, it doesn't know anything here. It knows through the power of God. Knowledge, wisdom comes through the power of God and is the knowledge of the universe. And when we surrender all of this trivia that we've all carried, we make room for the wisdom of the universe. And then we learn mysteries of the universe, mysteries of love, how it works. Not because we want to try to control it, because we want to live in it, as it. Everywhere around everyone are divine beings. You're never alone. You're never on your own. So that, that sensation that comes over sometimes, it says, I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm lonely, I need something. It's self perpetuated by the belief that there's something to get. But right in the heart of the center of your being is God. Always has been, right here. It's the meeting place. It's your sanctuary. It's where the universe exists. And when you dive in, you meet that silence, that quiet, loving space that holds you, the truth of you, the love that you are. The only air that I know. If someone sits with me and we talk about the beloved, if I cannot give his heart comfort, if I cannot make him feel better about himself and this world, then I must quickly run to the mosque and pray. Because an error has been brought into manifestation. We talk about the beloved if I cannot give him comfort. It's the talking about the beloved. It's finding that place within your heart that carries the message from the beloved. Nothing to hold on to, just everything to offer in love. There is a wonderful game that we should play. And it goes like this. We hold hands and look into each other's eyes and scan each other's faces. We don't stop. And then I say, now tell me a difference you see between us. And you might respond, your nose is 10 times bigger than mine. Then I would say, yes, almost 10 times bigger. But let's keep playing. Let's go deeper. Go deeper. For if we do, our spirits will embrace and interweave. Our union will be so glorious that even God will not be able to tell us apart. There is a wonderful game we should play with everyone. This is the game. To scan each other's face and go beyond. What is it to scan each other, be so close that you begin to interweave because you've lost where you start and someone else begins? You can't tell the difference anymore. That's the objective, to let your identity melt and to see through the melting of your heart that sees the beloved that's right with you. No name, no age, no story, no role. Could you do it with someone that you think you know? Or could you do this with a stranger, what we might consider to be a stranger? These are all the questions that we ask so that we can go as deep as possible. Scanning, holding hands and look into each other's eyes and scan each other's face. When you look in someone else's eyes, is your mind active with the thought of, you have something I need. I want it from you. I'm looking at you because I want you to see me. These old identities are what stand in the way of that intimacy. The true intimacy where you're no longer living in the past that is afraid of not having enough or is afraid of that someone else has something that you don't have. This is an essential acceptance. No one has anything that you don't have that is true, that is real. You can envy or admire other items that they may have as material possessions, but within your heart, you are the wholeness of God, and no one has more or less of that same truth of God. There's only one. But the key to healing is the willingness to participate, that when that urge comes up of believing that there's something to get from somebody else, that's when you remember you have the love to offer. You have the wholeness of God within you forever. There's never any one that has more than you. There is no one that has less than you. And none of the material possessions are the purpose. You are the sun, you are the power. And here you come to give your blessings. How can you bless If you believe that you are lacking, this is when the Holy Spirit calls everyone to accept that you are the light of God, the innocence of God, the perfection of God. Every day you have all the light and love of the world within you. Just remember and think about how powerful the mind is that can convince everyone. We've all been convinced that we were damaged or less or more or needing to be defended. None of it has any reality. None of it. When I discovered that I was called to see the oneness between Jose and this heart, there was a big no. There was a big no because it was too high a standard to meet. That was all the bull that the ego brought. Who was I to deny the magnificence of God? If God was proclaiming, as God was, that the perfection was within, and that there was no one master or fellow traveler that was less, not possible. And then to let the Holy Spirit show you, because it's the schoolroom, it's this learning to embrace the holy union of your heart, to embrace the sun that is within. Imagine that you wouldn't find the words again. What about me? What about me? Are the fearful words that every beloved's ego has used to corral you into doubt. What about me? The answer to what about me is I don't know. God promises that I am held. And what about me? I'm held. The acceptance that you are held, that you are loved, that you are nourished, that you are the innocence and the light of God forever. It wasn't an accident that I had the same birthday as Jose, because there are no accidents in teaching. And that was for me the teaching, to celebrate his remembering, because it was his remembering that opened the door for my remembering. And his remembering was the celebration. To finally come to the realization that all celebration is one. One celebration of one heart, of one life, of one truth, one love. In this poem, if someone sits with you and you talk about the beloved, if you cannot give his heart comfort, if you cannot make him feel better about himself and this world, then quickly run and pray to repair that holy relationship. Now this is symbolic, but it's saying here we are, and all we are here for is to remember love. And we remember love through our offering of love. So if we sit with the beloved and we talk about the truth of love, whether it's in true words of spirituality or if it's common words of, I'm right here with you, even if it's that word, those little words. I heard a child say, they were asking her, what do you tell other kids that have had the same scares as you have? And this little girl said, it's okay. You'll be okay. We'll get through this. The innocence of God. It's okay. Let God speak through you. It's so easy. You don't need your knowing. You're sitting with someone and we talk about the beloved. You don't have to grab a book and repeat the book. You find it in your heart. And you trust that it's in perfect orchestration, always, always. No one is sent to you for anything less than love. It's the most exquisite calling. It's exquisite because you have the power of God within you, the power of love to give, and you never, never have to worry about what to say or what to do because love will direct you. And on top of that, as you're offering, you you don't have to watch them to see if they get it. God has planted the seed with your love. Be be aware that all you have to do is touch someone's hand. And if you're here in that moment, you're offering God's love, which is your love. The rest is yada yada, doesn't have any purpose. But embrace every beloved because you are the light of God. And that becomes your healing. Every thought of doubt, toss it out the door. Refuse it. Don't fight with it. It's just yada yada. Not who you are. You're here to give all of your blessings to every beloved.